Sometimes the most advanced ideas take us to the most primitive parts of the world. That's why I was diving one summer at the bottom of a remote South American lake. It wasn't rare fish that I was after, but a weed. A weed with special properties. Above me in our boat was my employer, Professor Auerbach, and his daughter. The professor was doing a research project for a pharmaceutical company. He was using the fibers of this plant to make a culture for a new wonder drug that he was developing. He was so devoted to his work that he had made the trip himself into this wilderness, and he was as impatient as a schoolboy. I'd found a good spot and began gathering the plants. It was hard work at that depth, and I couldn't possibly work fast enough or stay down long enough to please the professor. In his enthusiasm, he minimized the problems of working underwater. In fact, all the problems of our project, including the hostility of the local fishermen to this abrupt intrusion of the 20th century into their age-old way of life.
Just after you went below. What do we do?
We'll ignore them. Pretty hard to ignore a gun. Have you tried talking to him?
Well, I'm a bacteriologist, not a diplomat.
I'll give it a try.
How's your Spanish?
Not too good. Senor, puedo hablarle. Estamos amigos.
Amigos. What is this thing you have on your back?
It gives me air when I'm underwater. I just getting this weed here.
You will not be funny with me, mister.
It's the truth. It's a special kind of a weed. It's for this gentleman here. He's a bacteriologist.
What does he want with the weed?
He's going to make a medicine from it.
Medicine? On the bottom of the lake? You think that I believe that? You have come for the fish. You have a way to capture hundreds of them all in one time, huh? You will frighten away the fish as the big steel airboats have frightened away the ducks and they don't come back.
Steel airboats?
They must mean a jet plane. There's a jet airbase nearby. Look now. We're telling you the truth. We're not after your fish.
We stay. We wash.
Well, let's move to another spot. Bottom of the lake must be covered with these weeds.
What if it isn't? I'll waste a lot of time looking around for another spot.
I'll pitch in and help. I'll dive alongside.
Oh, I don't think that's wise.
I think it's very wise. Come on, Pedro.
Any reason why he shouldn't dive?
No reason.
Thought you said he was an expert diver.
He is.
Well, what's the problem, then?
No problem. Being his daughter, I have a right to worry about him, don't I?
got rid of him anyway.
I hope so. How you feel?
Trim as an eel. I'll beat you down by 50 feet.
You've dived in deep water, huh?
Yeah, it's 100 feet or so.
That's a lot deeper here.
Dad, now you be careful.
Both of you are acting like I'm a 10-year-old going in for his first swim. Well?
Dad, your glasses.
Oh.
For an old man, the professor seemed to handle himself unusually well, even though he wasn't accustomed to diving, especially at these depths. It seemed to me that Marion had no reason to worry about him. Another bed of plants, and Professor Auerbach was very pleased. All he could think of was his precious plants and gathering them as fast as he could. But I knew that overexertion at this depth could be extremely harmful, especially if you aren't used to it. So after a while, I suggested that we call it a day. The professor started up. I followed. Then it happened. The sudden appearance of a big alligator was too much for the professor. He knew that they wouldn't bother a diver, but panic made him forget everything. He shot to the surface as fast as he could. The rapid change of pressure was sure to be dangerous, but he was gone before I could stop him. I had to go up slowly myself, for the change in pressure would get me, too.
Pedro! Pedro! Hurry! Hurry!
I can't stand this.
It's about time. Where were you?
How bad are they?
Oh, it's unbearable.
What's happened to him?
It's a bad case of the bends. Come on, Pedro. Help me.
For heaven's sakes, what are you doing?
The only thing I can do. Take him back. Down.
Are you out of your mind or something?
You're going to kill him.
Kill him?
Yes. He needs a decompression chamber.
A decompression chamber, but we don't...
Now, there's no time to explain. Every second counts. Give me that marker board, huh, Pedro? Hold it. Hold it, Pedro. Now, listen. You're going to feel all right. Much better when you get down there. You understand? Hand me those weight belts, huh? When we get down.
Oh.
Is he fixed his mask all right? You got your mouthpiece? All right, let's go. Put him around his shoulder, huh? That's right. The other one? Okay, fella. Let's go. Marion was almost hysterical, but there was no time to explain to her how her father's body had become riddled with tiny air bubbles. A return to the heavy pressure below would get rid of those bubbles and keep more from forming. This would give the professor some relief. But he couldn't stay down there very long. Bringing him slowly to the surface in the usual way wouldn't be adequate now. His body had had a terrible shock. He needed several hours of decompression, the kind that he could get only inside a chamber. This signal line was now his only link with us, and with life. A link that would be broken permanently if we couldn't find a decompression chamber. A hopeless task in this wilderness.
He's down below.
You left him down there by himself?
I had to. That's all I could do. We need help. Oh, no. That's all we need. Well, it gives me an idea. Keep your eye on that marker down there. Let me know if your father signals. G57, G57, calling anyone, emergency. G57, G57, calling anyone, emergency, over.
Delmonico here. What is your trouble? Over.
I want to contact the jet air base near Lake Valdez, over.
Just a minute. I will look up the band and call number. Over.
Hurry, please, over. Now, don't worry. He'll be all right for a while. I checked his air, I checked everything.
What if we can't get help?
Well, we'll find another way.
What way? You know there's nothing out here.
G57, Delmonico, over.
This is G57, come on in, Delmonico, over.
That Valdez Air Base call number is G-64. Ban 20-40. Over.
Roger, thanks. G57, over and out. Come in, G64.
G57, this is G54.
This is an emergency. We have a case of the bends here, and we're miles from any decompression chamber. Over.
G57, bring him to the airbase immediately for treatment.
There's no way to get him there in time. Now listen, this is what I have in mind. I've done some work with pressure suits back in the States. Your Air Force uses them for high altitude flying, isn't that right? Over.
Yes, over.
That's what I figured. Now, how quick can you fly one to me? We're in the north end of Lake Valdez. Over.
G57, it will take 20 minutes.
That's great. Tell them to look for a smoke flare, huh? Hurry. G57, over and out. Well, got ourselves a pressure suit.
Poor Dad. I never did understand what the bends were. Must be awful.
The bends are, well, they're kind of like opening a soda pop bottle too fast. The sudden release of pressure creates all those bubbles. When your father came up too fast, the sudden release of pressure on him created all those bubbles in his body. And nitrogen bubbles all throughout his whole system. They're very painful, and they can be fatal unless you get rid of them right away. The only way to do that is to cap the bottle or take your father down to the bottom again.
Well, I thought we needed a decompression chamber for that.
We do. That's a little too heavy to drop. Next best thing to it is the pressure suit.
Will it really work?
Well, I don't know if it's ever been tried before, but it should work. The Air Force uses it for supersonic flights at tremendous altitudes. And the body undergoes the same kind of pressure changes down below as it does up there. Look at that. Mark, boy, get that extra tank for me, will you? Now, if that jet comes by, be sure and put up a smoke flare, huh?
On the way down, I hoped and prayed that all he needed was another tank of air. Back to the surface now with no decompressor waiting for him would be inviting death. But he was losing consciousness. I had to take him up now.
Nothing but wait.
Wait? How much longer can we wait? Look at him.
Listen. Pedro, get that smoke flare.
In the ducks!
He's going away again!
No. He's just turning around. He's gonna come in low before he drops it. There he comes.
Look! The pressure suit!
Take it, senor.
Wouldn't do you any good. It was dropped for us.
Carlos, you will bring it in the boat.
The other man on my boat is very sick. His life depends on this.
Carlos.
If I don't get this to him in time, I'm going to hold you responsible for his death.
Get in the boat. We will see.
Here, help me with this. Gonna be all right now, fella? Is he all zippered up there? On your side? Now, give me the hose, huh? All right, kick it over. Works. Give me that folder.
The pressure suit would only become effective when attached to an air compressor. I wasn't sure if the one we used for our diving lungs would do the trick. If the two fishermen would leave us alone long enough to use it. We had to follow the tables which prescribed how much pressure to use and how long to use it.
How long will it take?
Hours. It's like bringing him up to the surface, very, very slowly.
Is he out of danger?
Little prayer might help.
Carlos, escopeto. Senor, you steal this from the bottom. It is food for our fish.
Plenty more where that came from.
It belongs here. It belongs to us.
Listen, the fish belong here too. But you catch them and sell them, don't you?
See, we sell.
All right. Why don't you catch this weed and sell that to us?
You pay?
Yeah, sure, we pay. Professor needs a lot of this. Much more than we can gather.
How much you need?
Enough to keep you busy when you're not catching any fish.
We had brought the professor back to surface pressure. Time and rest would complete the cure.
How do you feel, Dad?
Sorry I behaved so badly down there, Mike.
Forget about that. You're okay, that's the important thing. And you found what you were looking for.
Yes. Yes, how soon will I be able to start gathering the weed?
If I were you, I wouldn't worry about that.
I'll worry, of course I worry. We only have them. Great Scott, where did he come from? Well, look at him, he's going to take the weed.
No, he's going to find you some more. I made a deal with him while you slept.
Alfonso, ¿habláis muy billetes?
Sí,
¿Mucho dinero?
sí. Ven out por él.
Here. Hey, take this. But be careful.
Gracias.
Ándele.
This is G64. G64. Calling G57. Over.
G57, come on in, G64.
How did the pressure suit work out?
It worked. Thanks. G57 over and out.
Well,
Professor Auerbach got his plants after all, and the local people were given a small introduction to what was to become a new prosperity and a new way of life. Hello there. I'm Lloyd Bridges. You know, 3/5 of the world is covered by the sea, and how little most of us know about that underwater world. Go below with us again next week, huh? For another thrilling adventure in Sea Hunt.